Yeah, welcome guys. To This is stupid, but yeah, man. Having problems with this issue. I don't know why it went in 20, 24 minutes, 35 minutes without me saying a word. But yeah, the latest news is that Frankie De Jong has now followed Man United players. So I mean, as the most skeptical fan that I am, I still don't believe it until he holds up the shirt. But the guys legit followed Man United players on Instagram. So I'm not, will always give you a flinch, because it makes you think that this might actually go down. This might actually happen. Um, and this comes, ironically after Man United placed the bid, which was turned down by Barcelona. Um, but the guy immediately just followed. I think this transfer is actually happening. I think because people will be like, oh, it's obvious that he's already following Donny van de Beek, so he doesn't really count with Donny. But when you actually think about it, he followed Scotty X McSauce McTominay. I mean, so I mean, what relations does he have with Scott McTominay? Because you can easily debunk that with Donny because he was already following Donny. So, but Scott McTominay, come on, I'm a Diallo. So I mean, for me, that's kind of obvious that the guy is coming. The guy is coming to Man United. That's without a doubt. That's pretty much clear that he will be here, and that's for me. That's the most concrete news that I can come up with because I think in the next few days or in the next couple of days, this De Jong move will happen. Barcelona need to offload. Um, they need to upload certain number of players so they can get players on. So they can buy players that they want. Your Lewandowski as well. He's leaving Bayern Munich. Um, so Barca, if they want to get that deal done, or they want to maybe get Gundogan, who's also interested in moving to Barcelona, to replace obviously De Jong, they're gonna have to get rid of De Jong first. So they in this instance, I think Man United need to be smart and not overpay for De Jong. We shouldn't be showing our desperate side, and I feel like we're doing that because, in essence, there's news that came out again that pointed that we actually uh, are looking to sign Ruben Neves. So for me, if we're going after Ruben Neves, it doesn't make sense, and the only way it makes sense is us trying to force Barcelona's hand in in giving up, and in not overpricing De Jong. We all know that they want to get rid of the player to finance more moves. So that gives power in terms of that gives power to us and not to them. In essence, we have all the bargaining power right now. We could easily tell them, okay, if you don't want to give us De Jong, we'll go and sign Ruben Neves because you're not getting Ruben Neves if you don't get rid of De Jong. You understand? And funny enough, Man United know of Barca's interest in Ruben Neves. So they're gonna try and use the Ruben Neves, essentially, even though we know Ruben Neves isn't our first choice target. We're gonna use him in order to be able to get De Jong. The irony in that, because we all know Barca want Ruben, and they also want Gundogan. So both one, and they want to get rid of De Jong. So I mean, they shouldn't make this any more difficult. I know they want to get as much money out of Man United. I know there's no club that's gonna bid a ridiculous amount of money for De Jong, knowing that Barcelona wanna get rid of him. So for me, it's all about chess now from the board at Man United, and we'll see how we get over the line because I'm against signing one player for 70, 80 million. We can't be doing that. We can't be doing that because um, we are in the process of rebuilding this team. When you're in the process of doing that, you need to spend money wisely. You need to spend it efficiently so that the budget does allow you to be able to um, get as many players as you can. I've realized one thing with Man United. Well, I think it's the obvious. The reason why we couldn't really fully rebuild under any of the previous managers it's because this money was not spent wisely. We would go after marquee signings, and then it ends up obviously consuming the entire, if not 90 or 80% of the budget already, and then we bring two or three third choice players in other positions, which ends up in failure. It's rinse and repeat all the time with this club. So I feel like right now the strategy has changed, and they've realized, you know what, we need a team. We need 4 or 5 players. There's no way we're gonna go and spend 100 million on one player. That's not happening. If Barcelona think essentially that we're gonna do that, the team has changed. Our mentality has changed. Our strategy has changed. So I feel like you're gonna see a lot of players we're gonna miss out on, and fans are gonna get pissed off, rightfully so. But you also have to think as a fan that right now we're not in a position that the likes of Liverpool are, the likes of Real Madrid are, the likes of Chelsea are, the likes of Man City are. So we are gonna lose these marquee signings to those teams, and rightfully so, because we're not in for them. Ten Hag, should I say, um, is looking at it in a different way. We're going in a different route altogether. It's not all smokes and scream for this club. This club legit is going a different direction, and I'm actually proud that they let Darwin Núñez go to Liverpool. That for me shows that things have changed. I know a lot of YouTubers and a lot of fans are saying anything different. They're saying that, why did we let Darwin Núñez to Liverpool? The striker, why did we let him go to? The guy cost 100 million euros, guys. 100 million euros. That's best placed in spending it somewhere else completely. We need to spend that money, instead of getting one player for 100 million, we should be getting 3 or 4 players. We could fit 3 or 4 players in there in different positions and strengthening areas in our team that is essentially leaking. That's the proper way of rebuilding. People will laugh at us, but this is how you rebuild a team. And I've been saying it on my streams that why aren't we spending 100 million on 4 different players? Instead, we're spending 100 millions on 1 player or 2 players. We can't be doing that. We can't be doing that because it's not sustainable in the long run. What we're trying to do now is this manager said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And it's funny enough that this board is actually following this manager now. All of a sudden, our transfer strategy has changed from buying 1 player that costs 100 million to buying maybe trying to get 2 or 3 players that cost 100 million. That's the same way City have been doing it. You understand? So for me, I feel like rival fans will laugh and say we didn't get Darwin Núñez. But in hindsight, it's actually a positive for someone like me who's seeing it from the outside that this club has changed in the way it conducts its transfers. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that goes. But I feel like Frankie de Jong will join Manchester United. Barcelona want Gundogan or Ruben Neves. Man United are already now placing a bid for Ruben Neves, so it's a win-win situation, and Barcelona will crumble. I'm not really worried about the Frankie de Jong. It will be done in the next couple of days. Like, that's kind of obvious. For the fact that the club has already placed the bid, it sends signals to everyone else. I mean, besides Frankie, we've been linked with several players. I feel like we still need a center back. We might also get and Antony as well. Has apparently Man United are in talks with Antony. Antony from Ajax Ajax. So he did play under Ten Hag last season for Ajax Amsterdam. So that's another good signing if we can get that over the line. A right winger with his capabilities. I can imagine him and Sancho on both wings supporting Cristiano Ronaldo through the middle. For me, that's kind of like enforces our attack. People say we didn't need attackers. I feel like we did. We've never had a natural right winger. And yes, Antony can cut inside, but he is still primarily a right winger. He plays on the right wing at Ajax Amsterdam. So, I feel like with Pelestri coming back as well, Bruno can also play in that position. So for me, it's about flexibility. Right now, if we sign Antony, it's a great deal. Antony is a rising star. He's Brazilian, but besides his nationality, he's a rising star. His performances under Ten Hag at Ajax, they've been superb. He's a guy that rages a lot of assists. He's good at crossing the ball. So for me, essentially, he would be a great signing for this club. He would bring the balance that we essentially needed at Man United. So I'm actually excited about that signing, but I'll be even more excited if you can get two midfielders in to replace Pogba and other players who have departed. So far, Man United have declared 11 departures. So for me, a minimum of five to six signings has to be the minimum. We cannot afford to get anything less than 5 to 6 signings in this window. So if we can get Frankie De Jong and Antony, it's a good start. We can now focus on getting a second midfielder and maybe getting a centre back and one fullback. And essentially now the transfer window is closed for us, and we can build on to that into the January window and into the summer as well next season. So for me, it is what it is, man. But yeah, that's the latest news. I mean, from my part, and obviously as things go by, I will also start putting more videos in, reporting the latest news and everything. But yeah, guys. Otherwise, take care and hope y'all have one lovely Saturday. Peace out.